Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is another 5-0 Gauntlet video, this time for the Pantheon War between Greek and Roman. This Gauntlet restricts the deck to only have all Greek or all Roman cards. All other Pantheons are restricted. And we really have a pretty tight list here. The only real random aspects of it that slow down on tempo, I would say, are the Touch of Midas. The Touch of Midas can straight up win you some games, but at the same time you might be getting a really crappy card too out of it, like a Rattatasker or something like that. Other than that, the rest of the deck is pretty simple, really similar to the Divine Battle deck, with the end game trying to end it with Poseidon and Kraken. The rest of the deck really is there to support it. So let's get into it. Well, if you guys have noticed, this is a very long video. There are definitely a couple losses in this, but I know a lot of you guys have mentioned that you like to see the wins and the losses, so we'll be going over all of that today. Brother Rikishi is someone I've played a lot on the Gauntlet ladder, and he's always a good match. So we're going to be starting this one off with not the easiest one here. Alright, he opens with the Mercury, which is a pretty good play. I didn't really have anything on the board, so he didn't get too much value out of it. I'm going to try to at least get up to a 3-3 on this Nemesis here. He pumps up the Mercury with an Invigorate, which is really freaking annoying. So I instead decide I want card advantage in this matchup over tempo, and we bounce that guy back there. Now Poseidon does not only just bounce their unit back to hand, but what it also does is puts another god in your hand for every card that's bounced. That's incredibly powerful. It's like having the Touch of Midas effect attached to his bounce ability. He's probably one of my favorite changes with Greek since the games went live. He's really given a lot more end game push to the Greek faction because of that card, and also Kraken in some ways. Kraken now can be played on turn 6 to just do 3 in the cube with the hero power, or can be played now on turn 8 instead of turn 7, hero powering for a pump, playing Kraken, and then using your hero power again. A lot of people don't realize you can do that. It's a very powerful ability. I end up using Deicide here, killing off the... Actually, I don't know if that was Deicide or if that was a judgment there. Either way, I kill off the Sylvanus because I really don't want to have to deal with the recursion factor that he brings to the game. So at this point, we're going to be pushing the advantage that I already have. I'm really considering what kind of nukes that he has in his deck. So I'm trying to get as many things above 4 life as possible on the board. So if he does decide to nuke everything out, I'm still good. And he only has options to play a 4-drop after that, which my Hades would probably just eat up. Alright, he's going to be pulling in the Ares for a miss there on the lava spot. It's random when you're targeting in that sense sometimes. It really depends on whether they're directly in front of you, whether they're in the same column as you, whether they're behind you. It's a very weird interaction, but maybe I'll make another Reddit post about how it works again. I did make one in the past, but that was a long time ago. Okay, so it looks like we've got a Zeus versus Zeus mirror matchup here, which is always good. I think my Zeus deck is definitely tuned to beat other Zeus decks a lot easier. Roman is definitely the harder matchup for me in this Pantheon War. And the main reason for that is we have a lot of options to deal with people who are playing things like Apollo, people who are playing things like Aphrodite. I don't think those cards are necessarily the best. If you play Aphrodite Hero Power on your turn 6 and I respond with Nemesis and Thanatos, it's a much stronger play in terms of card advantage and in terms of tempo. So I'm not really afraid of that necessarily. And now that I have the Kraken out, I really think I can start doing some real damage here. He's got 6 cards left. It's going to be Touch of Midasing, trying to look for an answer. Again, in these Greek versus Greek matchups, a lot of the time it really comes down to who's going to be getting their Kraken first. That's probably the most important thing in this matchup, other than possibly who goes second and whether you have a double Arachne or not. If you can go Arachne on turn 2, that's usually a win right there as well. You just don't have enough threats to really kill off all the spiders that they're going to be able to put on the board. Alright, well, he's going to be dropping a Artemis, which I then stun here. I have a couple different options on how I'm going to want to kill off this Artemis here. The main one I'm looking at is I have an Athena and a Judgment in hand. So we have a lot of things to deal here. Poseidon's also an option, but I really think the Athena is probably the right play here. Judgment, and then finish off the Aphrodite. We didn't really use the hero power there, but this was the only play which allowed us to clear the board. So it's definitely worth taking that route there. Next, what we need to do is really run down the 5 cards that he's got left, which this should really help that right now. I'm just going to be Poseidoning his guy here. So you got to remember with Poseidon, using him for a pure tempo play is still completely fine. What I basically just did was turn his entire turn his last turn into negate 3 damage from his side of the board, which that's fantastic. He was not able to replay that Ares again, and he is forced to use a deicide on my 3-drop, which felt really great there. Now I have some action of my own here. I need to really calculate the damage on what we can get on that Sun Wukong. We get him into the killable range, which is the 4 on the Judgment, and take him out. Got enough damage on the board. We're definitely enough ahead on tempo, and these are all gods, so I don't think he really has an answer to having him live one more turn outside of playing a Sanctuary. Yeah, that's a good concede there. Good game. Next game, we have a Zeus versus Zeus matchup again. Looks like we are going into this game 3 here. And we will be going second. No, I'm sorry, we were going first. And my opponent passed on his second play, just playing his... Well, I should say he passed. He passed by not putting anything on the board, allowing me to rush him in the way I am doing right now. Arachne is so stupid in this matchup. Basically, you take damage until they get an Athena out. Or Gem of Isolation works too. I haven't seen that card played before, to be honest, but I could see how that's useful. Heavenly Inspiration, okay. I think the Touch is the right play here. Probably the Artemis. Well, that's an interesting choice. Looking back and going through these games on the replay here, I think that the Artemis was by far the better choice here. I don't know why I had picked that Agni, to be completely honest, but I think it's actually going to turn out to be a decent pull either way. Agni's not a bad card, but now that you don't get him back immediately and you have to physically redraw him from your deck, it's just not the same anymore. So I'm trying to ramp up my cards in hand. He had the Sanctuary there on his Cilia, and also now gets the protection bonus, which is kind of a pain in the butt. I might have to end up deciding this guy just because that protection there is just too much for me to punch through with the low amount of damage that I have on the board. Other choice is our good old buddy Poseidon there, which we just top decked. Getting him off the board. I will also be going straight for the Summoning Stone here, as I am getting him down to 12 life, with him just having the Athena on board and me with an Enyo in hand, meaning that's going to be some immediate damage next turn. He obviously replays his Cilia there. Goes for the pump on the Aphrodite. That's a interesting choice. I think getting your Cilia out of kill range of the Poseidon might have been a better idea, but what do I know? So we end up silencing Aphrodite, playing Shock and Awe to bounce with the Poseidon on his Cilia, take him down to 10 life, and while that was not the best in terms of card advantage, that was a pure tempo play in me really rushing down the Summoning Stone. He has had to cast this Cilia 3 times now. Oh, he looks like he burned away one of my cards with that good Ascension play there. However, I have the required tools to really just refill the board and not worry about it. Okay, he drops a Athena there off of spawn card, I guess, because he didn't use the hero power. Didn't seem like it. Oh no, he picked off the top. There you go. Well, either way, we've really got him low, and he concedes, which I really didn't see him coming out of that. So it looks like we're against the Roman again. I believe that was Brother Rikishi again. And we get this shit-ass hand. Not the best, not the worst. And he gets the now nerfed Bacchus out. So that's not as bad, to be honest. Before, Bacchus was a nightmare on turn 1. But I think he's still going to be pressing his advantage here. He's still got the all adjacent enemies stupid buff on Bacchus. I still don't understand that. Of the nerf, I would have liked to see that removed more so than him getting a reduction in his attack power like they gave him. Like removing the cleave and also throwing in some lesser powerful buffs would have been really good at diluting the one that's really broken still, which is immune to melee, but you kind of want to keep that in there. That's okay. He's got the Bacchuses rolling at this point, and I have a big handful of expensive cards, unfortunately. So with the Shock and Awe, I'm hoping he's going to set up something that I can shock a second time. Oh man, That was a good play. Knocked out my shock and awe there. I'm going to end up probably having to deicide this Bacchus here. I don't really have another way of killing him at all. Well, I mean, I'm 1 mana off of Nemesis Athenaing. So, yeah, end up deiciding him. It's probably the best play there. And getting down an Arachne in a protected back line who's even got a spider in front of her. So that's pretty nice. Oh, taken down by the shackles. Not getting any help here with the card draw, but now I can play the Athena play with the Nemesis. And we have a little bit more wiggle room. Or so it seems. He's getting the stun here. It's really not giving me any options. My only real reprieve here is just putting something in front of the Terra. But at that point, she could have just moved him out of the way. I do top deck into my Ares there, but it's not enough because he has the Nox. So that was our first loss, but luckily we get a quick rematch against him. So this time we draw a much more aggressive hand here, or possibly just because we're going second, making it the big difference. Against Roman, I really like Anner. He's honestly kind of broken. You just stick him in the back and you kind of turn off like a third of Roman's cards. So now that I have a little bit of time to really just get on his nerves with this Anner, I'm going to be playing as many powerful high life cards as possible. So Enyo is kind of the obvious choice here. It's going to give me a quicker spawn on his side of the board. Could have also went with the Hades. Geez, double rain of arrows. That is a pain in the ass. Who would have thought, right? Kind of passing with a little bit of mana here, but this is still the best option of play. Because if I had left my Enyo on 1 life, what would have happened is he would have been just moved into the fire pit, unfortunately. We do have this Athena here, but it's not going to deal with the Mercury on the bottom, unfortunately. A hard choice, but really not. You go with the Athena there and just try to get as much on the board without letting him be able to frontline his things and play really aggressive. Alright, we get a really nice Cilia kill here. Gonna start pumping up the Athena. Reason being, it's going to come down to surviving his nukes and surviving fire pits. So I need to hit a critical mass of enough units on the board where he can't deal with it with the tools that Roman have. I'm going to go for Nemesis and Judgment play there and draw more cards. I'm going to be trying to use my hero power every turn at this point, like I mentioned. Really want to get value out of that. I'm at 8 cards while he's at 3. So I really want to force these engagements. With the Kraken now played, I can really take advantage of him being pinned in the corner. He really is pinned to this bottom left corner, right? If he plays anything in the top, I'm going to be attacking it immediately with the Athena. So really, I have him on the ropes here. Go for the silence and shock and awe. I didn't know that the timing on that was how that just worked, so that was interesting. I thought that possibly Athena the silence would fire first, then Nox would pop out because that's part of the silence effect, and then Athena's 2 damage would fire. But apparently they all work in one packet, so the damage and the excuse me, the damage and the silence fired exactly at the same time, basically. Okay, we really got him pinned, even with a Venus here. He's in a lot of trouble. Drop the Hades with him down to 3 cards, and that should be good game. Wow, he blew him up with... Yeah, that was a pretty odd play. I didn't even know he was running that in that deck. I didn't see him play that last round. Interesting. I'll keep that in mind if I run into him again. But we're wrapping this one up for sure. And that's the victory, so good game, buddy. For our next game, it's Zeus versus Zeus. The guy's name is Stroke Me Gently. I gotta give it to him for most creative PSN name so far that I'm surprised is not banned. I'm gonna be opening with a Search 2 God card and get the card I really wish I started with, which was the Arachne. That's okay though. Ooh, he draws into a Scotty, which is not too bad for him. But at this point, I want to play the Cilia. I know he doesn't have a way to kill my Cilia immediately unless it's with a Judgment. And if he used his Judgment on turn 3 just to kill my Cilia, I'm okay with that. I think the only decision there really was trying to decide whether I wanted to play the Touch of Midas, the Search card, or the Arachne. And again, board presence over anything. Even when you see stupid Hades. Which is not too bad because we've got Nemesis ready to knock him down a peg, an already powered up Cilia, and a quickly building army of spiders. It's pretty good so far. Can't really complain. Things are looking up. We got a decent army, and his biggest thing on the board, I guess now would be the Scotty, but that it's been a 1/6 2-drop for the longest time. Not very threatful, to be honest. Alright, we take down that Scotty really quickly with the Nemesis there, and also knock down the associated wolf friend. And we continue our push toward that summoning stone, applying pressure. Alright, Thanatos is going to be not taking out the Arachne. That is very questionable play there. I don't, maybe he misclicked, but there's almost no reason to ever use hit the spider over my 1/2, which generates more spiders. Ares there was just to pull that Thanatos out of the way, and we're really making him fight on our terms now. And regardless, Ares will one-shot him, so it's completely fine. With a pump and Athena there, we are able to wipe his board. So his turn 7 Ares there is quite weak comparatively. Alright, we got the surround almost at this point. Got a lot on the board. Just gonna knock him down, and yeah, we got enough on the board to kill him. So good game, and we'll see who we get in the next one. Oh, Brother Rakesh again. Alright, well, we know this is always a close match, so let's see where this goes. Yeah, good luck, Rakesh. Regardless of how many times we've probably eliminated each other on 3 and 4 game runs on these gauntlets, it's always great to have a good game. Alright, I'm going to be getting the early Kraken here. Now this is going to be possibly a mistake, but not the end of the world. I think we have to Kraken. No, have to Kraken. Or Hero Power Divine. Not too bad. Yeah, I think that was a good use of the coin there. It's always hard. I'd say it's one of the hardest decisions in this. Understanding that by having... Oh, that was interesting. He did not need to lose his Nox there. So that was definitely a play mistake. But getting back to what I was saying, it's really... Effective use of the coin is one of the highest levels of Hand of the Gods there is, because an ideal play in one matchup with coin use is not always the ideal play in another matchup. And then you have to figure out, well, what turn am I trying to use this on ideally to do most efficient use? And do I even have that card? Am I going to live to that turn? Sometimes you want to do like a turn 8 play on turn 7, because that tempo game, like for example, if I have a lot of board as Roman, I really like to coin out my terror on turn 6. The more things you and the opponent have on the board, the more effective terror really becomes. Otherwise, it's more just like, it's Ares. I mean, if all you're using her for is just to stun one thing and getting something on the boards that they can't attack back with, she's just undercosted Ares. But her power, her cost, and her power and toughness make Terra to be one of the most overpowered cards in the game right now to me. Still think Roman is very strong. But back to the game. We're back up to turn 10 now. Have a lot of things in hand. Have this Juggernaut and got him down to 12, but he's got me down to 17. So it's pretty close here. Kind of deciding how I'm going to kill and what I'm going to kill here. I think the obvious answer is both of them. Because of shock and awe. Now I made a play mistake there myself by not moving my Juggernaut forward, and that could have been something that was important. You never know until you see what happens after, right? So it looks like he's going to be shackling his imps to kill me. That's a really good play there. Shackle, I think, is an undervalued card. Really nice. Oh, good game. He's got me? No, I got him. Oops. Yep, that was my mistake. I forgot to use the Enyo first. Alright, I was just covering my bases there. Alright, we got another Roman, different Roman this time, Zeus. And we got a pretty damn good opening hand here. Always want to start with the Arachne when possible. He bombards it, so no big deal, but going to be following that up with a Scylla. Already bringing the heat. Cupid is not very useful there because, well, Thanatos just instantly counters Cupid, sadly. The Janus play is kind of interesting. After deciding, or deciding beside Deicide and Poseidon, he decides he's had enough. Alright, and it looks like Brother Rakesh has switched over to a Zeus deck. Interesting. So, this will be the 5th win, and we've got a pretty shit start other than this Kraken we got here. I still want to play the Scylla first over the Kraken because Scylla doesn't require more mana to activate necessarily, where Kraken does. And that's the same reason I play Scylla again. Now, I kind of should have expected the Thanatos, to be honest. And there, the Kraken was probably the correct play. Live and learn. Really don't want to play this Deicide here. So I end up playing my Kraken. Looking back on this game, playing that Kraken a turn earlier would have made a big difference, I think. Because now we're at the mercy of taking 10 damage a turn and him Krakening me back. I don't really have much options to deal with this. I lost the Tempo War on playing that second Scylla. But hey, that's also why I like going through my own games. Because there's a lot of times when you see the effect of what happens and realizing that next time you have something else to think about, and it might change your idea of how to make the play. I'm still trying to hang on, but because he has Kraken already used, there's no coming back from this. So, good game. Alright. Well, we're about halfway through the video here, and we're still starting a new run. If you're wondering why I did all this back to back to back, it's because this was the last icon I'm missing. I have every other icon that you can earn through the Gauntlet. So I was really tryharding on this one after not attempting it last time it came around. Mercury turn 1. Okay. Sylvanas. Obviously get the Sylvanas. Oh, Battle Rage. That's a card I haven't really seen. I can definitely see how it would be good in this matchup. However, since I've already done the 1 damage there, slightly OP Thanatos comes in and cleans up. Okay. If he's just moving my guys back at this point, I'm feeling pretty good about being definitely ahead in terms of who's got control of this game, regardless of whether or not he has me down to less life on my summoning stone. I'm purposely staggering my units to try to prevent prevent me from getting worked, to be completely honest. Here I decide to just inch my guys across, make him deal with it, spend more mana to actually get the value out of that shackle, and drop a bigger threat onto the board in the Sylvanas. It's all about threat stacking. If you have a tempo advantage, try to get something out there that they cannot deal with, which is exactly what I'm doing, playing Hades on top of that. All of his board wipes are not going to be able to deal with both of these. There's a good chance that they won't be able to deal with one of them. Okay, we start inching the guys forward, pumping up the Hades more so than the Sylvanas, and just fishing with my search card, just to see what we can get. However, I think we've won this one handedly. I'll take a Bacchus. Hades is one of the most oppressive cards in the game. Yet, I can never find room for two of them in any deck that I build, really. I've got too many good cards at 5. How can you not play Enyo? Zeus versus Zeus. Alright. Pretty happy with this. The only thing that sucks is I'm going first. Really would like that extra card. But can't really complain. I unfortunately did not draw a 2-drop here. Rather than pass, I'd rather get something on the board. The bad thing about that was he did play a an Arachne there, which counters my guy pretty much directly. But what I did get secondly was the Cilia. The Cilia follow-up prevents the little spider snipe there. And I'm going to be going to literally just clear the board and make him deal with the 5/3 ranged unit that's just on the board. Poseidon is completely acceptable. Pump him back up. That's how you deal with Poseidon, gentlemen. You have a hasted creature. Ooh, deicide, not too bad. Alright, I got my Poseidon of my own. Probably going to want to develop the Hades, regardless of if it's a waste of mana. You don't really want to play a Athena on nothing. Starting to decide where I want to target. Decide to knock out both of the spiders there rather than directly tackle the pumped up nemesis up there. Definitely don't want to be in range of her. She gets beefy really quick. But luckily we have a lot of options here. We have Poseidon, and we have Nemesis. Alright, Thanatos to finish the job there. Feel really good about the board position that we've built so far. Athena wasn't able to kill anything. He does sanctuary it away. However, I'm happy with just having another turn of beating on his summoning stone. I choose to pump my Thanatos there rather than casting the 5-drop, because what it does is it allows him to live for one more turn until he plays a Cilia to finish it off. But that's his entire turn, basically, you see. I'm completely okay with that. We'll trade this neutered Hades into his Cilia. Go for the deicide there, and again, just keep applying pressure. Make him deal with the threats on the board. Now that he's in single digits life, it's going to be very difficult for him to wipe the board as Greek. Kind of like how that Roman player gave me my last loss. Alright, I think we have enough damage to kill at this point, so good game. And we'll see who we get in the next match. Alright, it looks like it's Greek versus Greek again. Not good when you have to pitch your entire starting hand, but what comes back is great. I can't complain at all with that. Sorry, I must have been out trying to figure out if I'm going to lose another game by playing a Cilia on turn 3. But I end up feeling it's still the better choice, considering I have more on the board than just the Cilia this time. If he decides to Thanatos my Cilia, I'm okay, because then I run a spider into him, and then I Thanatos his Thanatos. Dude, what is up with people and targeting these spiders with Thanatos? Oh man, that gives me a lot of confidence there that we're looking pretty good at this point. The other option there was really playing a pump on the Cilia and getting her pumped up, but because we're already like 2 turns away from a surround here, I decide to just try to get more shit on the board. Like, it just comes down to what you've got is what you've got. So I go for a pump here on my my Cilia, trying to finish him off with her. I give up on the surround, trade in some of my spiders and a lot of my life there, which means I could get Athena'd pretty hard in a turn. But what I do get is a pumped up Cilia, which, in having to deal with this Hades, is going to help a lot. I end up deciding that I would rather him get some spiders instead, but that was a stupid plan. I should have silenced it from the beginning. Regardless, if you don't get the effect of triggering one of your warcries, you don't want to give your opponent free cards, even if it is a 1/1 spider. Here, I think that the Ravana is the better play. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of Ravana. I think he's good, and like I have him in a lot of my decks, but, and yeah, there's a big but. I don't think he's necessarily that great, because the hero power of Hindu does not really benefit him that much. He's really stupidly powerful if you can power him up. Like, the hero power of Greek makes him stupidly good. It's just not what we see. Alright, we go for this kill on Aphrodite first. I don't really have to rush down anymore. I can slow play as long as Hades is on the board, see what kind of value I get out of him. And Ravana is at least protected because of his damage shield, so we're okay there. Aphrodite. He's got to pick one. Deicide, that's a good pull there. Wonder what he's deciding on. He's down to 2 cards, which is where I feel, when I noticed that, I was like, okay, we're looking pretty good now. He's down to 1 now, and I have a search card in hand. The thing he screws up here with is I don't think he realizes that Kraken is not gonna like save him from, or I'm sorry, the shield is not gonna save him from the Kraken, and that's a kind of a big deal. So I really don't like Aphrodite in this gauntlet, and in general. I play her sometimes in Arena, but there's just so many better 4-drops in this game. It's kind of what it comes down to. Opportunity cost in the 4-drop slot. Got him down to 6. Nemesis in hand. Go for the Aphrodite pump and protect the summoning stone. This game should be a lock at this point. It's down to 1 card left. And we've got we've got a little bit more life than he does. Let's just leave it at that. Alright, good game, buddy. Zeus versus Zeus again. It's a pretty decent start. I think I'll keep all of it. I'm surprised I pitched the search card. I guess it makes sense that mana is more valuable early game to be used casting creatures and buffing creatures rather than looking for more. Finish off this Apollo here. Ooh. Definitely got an opening here. Just gonna... Oh, this was a... I was like, oh god, please don't stay like that. Please tell me you didn't make that mistake. You never ever put your guys in a row against Greek, okay? Like, Poseidon means bad idea. So as you see, I keep rearranging my guys so that he's not able to Poseidon like for 2 or 3 guys. That Nemesis really helped there. Alright, that's a quick game. Definitely had him dominated early because of the Arachne though. Unanswered Arachnes become quick games if you get a surround. Alright, Zeus versus Zeus. Getting a lot of these mirror matches at the end. Haven't seen Brother Rakesh yet, so maybe he got his 5 wins. Alright. I got double Arachne here, so as I mentioned before, this is the kind of board that Greek players cannot recover from. This game's already over. Well, guys, I know that one was a barn burner, but I'm glad you guys get to see me get that wonderful cutesy Arachne. I'll catch you in the last video of our Gauntlet series, which is going to be for Divine Battle, and we'll have a video out for every Gauntlet that they currently got right now. Check you guys in the next video. Midi Night out.